All right, we're back, and I didn't promote it because I didn't know. We have A-Rod in studio, and one of his many lawyers, Jim McCarroll. Jim, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Doing well. How are you?
All right, and obviously, A-Rod, welcome. How are you?
I've been better.
Hi, this is great. All right, so, Jim, A-Rod knows this because he watches it all the time. I don't know how much you watch. This is the Yes Network we're on now, the Yankee Network, as a matter of fact, and obviously on WFAN. First of all, and, Jim, you can chime in where you have to. A-Rod, tell me what happened today.
Well, we got a ruling that the commissioner does not have to come in from Milwaukee. And it was very disappointing. Obviously, I've been there for 10 or 12 days, whatever's been there for every pitch. I have my girls back home in Miami, and, it's been difficult. But, respecting the process, having been offered to come in a million shows, haven't done anything. It's just been really just taking it one day at a time and respecting the process. And today I lost my mind. I banged the table and kicked a briefcase and slammed out of the room and just felt like this system, I knew it was restricted and I knew it wasn't fair. But what we saw today is just, it was disgusting. And the fact that the man from Milwaukee that put this suspension on me with not one bit of evidence, something I didn't do, and he doesn't have the courage to come look at me in the eye and tell me this is why I did 211, I shouldn't serve one inning. And this guy should come to our city. I know he doesn't like New York. I love this city. I love being a Yankee. My daughters grew up in New York. And for this guy, the embarrassment that he's put me and my family through, and he doesn't have the courage to come see me and tell me, this is why I'm going to destroy your career. And I have to explain this to my daughters every day.
So you thought now, Jim, you can chime on this too. You prepared, A-Rod. I mean, you have your list. Were you given any prior notice that the commissioner was not coming?
No, none whatsoever.
So you thought the commissioner would be there today?
No, we did not think he'd be here today.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Okay.
We had...
So he wasn't going to testify today. Let's clear that up.
We had sent him to testify tomorrow.
Okay.
MLB opposed vigorously.
Right.
They made arguments why the decision maker, why the person who crystal clear made the decision to suspend Alex and the amount of suspension that Alex would be hit with didn't have to come. We vigorously opposed, obviously. The union joined in vigorously.
And said he should. And that's when he made. So you blew up when the arbitrator, Horowitz, made the ruling the commissioner is not coming. That's when you exploded. So you got the definitive word that he was not coming to this process, right?
I exploded much worse than Paul O'Neill on any of his explosions with the coolers. I was very upset. I probably overreacted, but it came from the heart, and this has been a very difficult process. And I felt that the reason why I didn't go to Letterman or Leno or I didn't come on your show or the hundreds of invitations is out of the respect to the game, to Michael Weiner, and to Manfred, and ultimately to the commissioner. Because this is the game that I love. I've spent 20 years in the big leagues. I've worked my tail off. And at the end of the day, I always said to you and other media members, I will tell my story. I will have a platform and a forum. And I thought, rightfully so, this should end with Selig on Thursday and me on Friday under oath. Put your money where your mouth is.
So you were going to still testify.
Or we can go to Milwaukee and we can do it there if he doesn't want to.
But you were going to still testify. You had never backed off on it.
I was going on Friday 9:30 in the morning.
And you were told today that now the commissioner, here's the ruling, commissioner is not coming.
Mike, if I may, Alex did not overreact in the slightest. There is no legal forum in the United States where a man does not get to face his accusers.
Well, this is not a legal forum, though. This is right. We know that there's no rules here, right?
Look, you make a fine point, but Alex has made every effort, and we, of course, have made every effort to respect the process, to respect the joint drug agreement, the basic agreement. That didn't happen today. That's not happening through this process.
All right. So, Alex, you got up, said something to Manfred, and left. Okay. We read your statement. Okay, a couple of times already. So you made your statement very clear. Where are we now? Are you done with the arbitration process?
For me, I'm done. I mean, I don't have a chance. I think you let the arbiter decide whatever he decides. I'm sure Selig and whoever will be the beneficiaries of that decision will be. My position doesn't change. I didn't do it. And after this is done, we're going to go back to Reed Smith. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people waiting for us there, and we'll huddle up tonight. And I'll probably go see my daughters tomorrow.
And I will
by the
ask
way,
you.
I lost my. I missed my daughter's birthday first time. She's 9 on Monday, and I was here, and I wasn't there for Natasha.
We're talking with A-Rod. Bring it in, Monts, but they need something to drink, so bring it in. We're talking with A-Rod and one of his lawyers, Jim McConnell. A-Rod today left the process angry that we learned from the arbitrator, Horowitz, that the commissioner would not be a part of this proceeding. You have said in the past a lot of times, everywhere, that you would, when it was over, and you're saying now it's over, you had been very guarded about what you said, okay? You had not said much about the process, or were you guilty or innocent. Tacopina, I'd heard a couple times say it, so I'll ask you the question. Were you guilty of any of these charges?
No, and I should have
Did you
served
do
one
anything
inning.
wrong?
No.
Did you do any PEDs?
No.
Did you obstruct just anybody, any witnesses? Did you do anything that they accuse you of doing? Nothing.
Nothing.
So you're guilty in your mind of nothing.
I feel like I should be there opening day.
Okay.
And that's what I'm working hard
So
for.
and let's get that on the record. You say you did not do these PEDs that they're accusing you of doing.
You're correct, Mike.
Okay. Now, where are we now, Jim? Where is this? Is this finalized now? Is this over, this arbitration hearing? Are we done with it? Or what? Let me ask you this from a legal standpoint, then I'll get back to A-Rod. What will baseball do now? Is this hearing over? Is now the appeal closed? I mean, where are we legally?
Major League Baseball has not met its burden of proof. Major League Baseball has put forth no evidence to hold Alex liable, to hold him to the suspension. None. We have put on evidence. We have more evidence to put on. We are evaluating our options.
Well, what does that mean? A-Rod said that he's not going back.
Alex is not going back. Bud Selig is not coming to testify. Alex is not going back.
So if Selig does not testify, you're not going back. But what if they changed and they changed their mind? If Selig went back, would you go back?
We're going to go back tonight and huddle up and make that decision. I mean,
okay, so that could be on the table. If Selig changed his mind, would that change things?
If Bud Selig suddenly has the courage of his convictions to come in, take an oath, and explain his actions, Alex was slated to testify on Friday.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, let me just say this.
Right.
When Rob Manfred, our COO, who's a very bright guy, and I have respect for, he says to me in the courtroom, this wasn't my decision. This was Bud Selig's decision. I said, great. We're going to get him on Thursday, and I'll speak on Friday. This is the way it should end. And then today we hear he's not coming. I know you don't like New York, but you got to come face me. This is my whole life, my legacy. I'm part of history. So if you're going to try to destroy all of that, I'm saying no. You tell me why I should serve one inning. Because you're retiring next year? That's not fair, Mike.
No. Hey, listen, you know, the whole time during this process while you played, you said, I'll have my day. You didn't want to discuss it. You know, when you were asked a million times, press conference, everything, you told me, I'm not discussing it. I promise I'll discuss it when it's over. Now, it's right now, in all intents and purposes, it's over. And you're saying on the record you did nothing wrong. You're telling the audience now, all your fans here, you did not do what they're accusing you of doing.
That's correct, Mike.
What is all this about then? Why do you think, what did you think of what you heard over 10 days? When they said there and put Bosch up there, and I have not read all the testimony, I've seen some of it. What did you think about everything they accused you of doing?
Listen, if I gave Bosch $5 million, he would say whatever I want to. He walked in with 4 lawyers, 3 security guards, and a publicist who, by the way, is negotiating a book deal right now and making a mockery, not out of only Major League Baseball and the Yankees and me. And all of this could have been avoided. I reached out to Selig several times early on and said, hey, I'll fly up to you in January. I'll fly up to you in February. I'll come see your house. We can have coffee. We can have brunch in your house in Milwaukee or in a Starbucks. And anything you want to ask me, I will go without an attorney. An owner, a third party who's very well respected, who I won't mention, Mike, very well respected and is considered a friend of mine and a friend of Selig's, said, you should probably go, but take your attorney. I said, I'm not taking an attorney. I'm going by myself, man to man. And then I made the same offer to Rob Manfred. And both of them, they said, we don't want to see you. We want to see you at the end.
A-Rod, they accused you. They said they had mountains of evidence. They said they could prove you did worse than this. They talked about if you testified or met the early part of the hearing where you had to go talk to them first, they might add games they leaked, okay? They say, airtight evidence. you listen to all this. You're saying now you're completely innocent. I would have been outraged long before this if baseball did this
Mike,
to me.
if it wasn't for Jim,
how'd you hold your tongue this long?
Yeah.
if it wasn't for my attorneys holding me back, listen, I would have loved to come and talk to more importantly, to my fans, to my fan base, to my daughters, to the kids. I represent a lot of people out there. And you know what? This is the funny thing. There's a lot of people that don't like me. Look, I get it. Mike, I get it.
That doesn't matter.
People in the streets tell me, I hate your guts. You're getting railroaded. I'm a Red Sox fan. I hate you. You're getting railroaded.
You know I feel you've gotten railroaded, and I didn't know to this. I didn't know if you're innocent or guilty because, let's be honest, we know hundreds of baseball players did steroids, and you did steroids once, so I don't know if you did steroids again or not. That's your business. They have to prove you did. You stating here now that you never did anything, you should be fighting this tooth and nail. Now, let me ask Jim for a second. Where are we going from here? What if there's no hearing? What is do they now suspend them for 200 games? What happens now if this arbitration didn't happen? The guy's not going to rule on an incomplete arbitration, is he? He can't do that.
Mike, it's our
Where
view.
are we?
It's our view. It's our position that the arbitrator Horowitz, the chair of the panel, should have ruled after MLB closed its case. There's no evidence. We are prohibited, and we continue to respect the collective bargaining agreement in place here. We are prohibited from getting into details of the evidence, but I can tell you this. MLB's case comes down to Tony Bosch, incredibly motivated to say whatever will get him out of this jam. Tony Bosch did what he did. He's incredibly motivated. MLB has agreed to indemnify him. MLB has paid his attorneys, an army of attorneys, extraordinary amounts of money. They've hired a publicist for him. The evidence comes down to Tony Bosch saying, I did it. Mr. Bosch, where did you get the PEDs that you gave to Mr. Rodriguez? I don't know. I don't remember. I've got nothing to say about that. I can't get into the details of the evidence. However, that's their evidence.
A-Rod,
that's what it comes down to.
Baseball, and we're talking with Alex Rodriguez and one of his attorneys, Jim McConnell.
McCarroll,
excuse me. Jim McCarroll, I apologize.
That's my other attorney.
Hey, listen, you have so many attorneys, I need a roster with all your attorneys, okay? I mean, you're not going to have any money left. You have to play 20 more years to pay for all this
my
stuff.
girl's got to go to college.
You got 40 PR guys. You got 100 lawyers. Man, you're going to have to play to your 50 or 60. My God. And you made more money than anybody else. They accuse you of so many things. They said you leaked guys' names to Yahoo Sports, right?
Yeah.
Let me just take them one at a time. Yahoo Sports, did you leak anybody's names?
That's laughable. Absolutely not. That's disgusting.
Number two, PEDs. They said you did mountains of PEDs. Did you do any?
No.
Did you obstruct a witness?
What does that mean?
Did you? Well, they accused them of obstruction.
That was one of them.
Right. Did you tamper with any witnesses?
There was no obstruction. There was no intimidating. There was none of that.
None of this.
None of that.
So they don't. And there's not one thing you did.
No.
Hey, I'd be fighting too if that's the case. Now, what is this all about then? What the heck is going on
Mike,
here?
what is that all
You're
about?
one of the biggest stars. Why would they do this?
They're just saying that they say when it's not about the money, Mike, it's always about the money.
It's about the money.
That's what it's about.
Well, you had Randy. What about the rest of this? Where are you now with the Yankees? Let me ask about the Yankees now. There's been stuff here with the Yankees, with Ahmad, with Levine. Where are you now with the Yankees? How do you feel about the Yankees? How do you feel about their doctors? How do you feel about Randy Levine?
I'm taking one fight at a time.
So this is just baseball right now?
Right now it's baseball.
Can you go back and play for the Yankees in your heart?
I play for the city of New York. I love the fans. I love the city. My girls grew up here. This will be part of my life for the next 50 years. This is the city. And I've never gotten more love, Mike, walking around the city. Is the weirdest thing in my life. I thought this is where people would be banging me over the head the most. I've never been, welcomed and felt so.
I don't want to put words
so
in your mouth.
support.
Are you angry at the Yankees?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I am.
All right.
But I do have a responsibility. I am the third baseman of the Yankees. My goal is to get back on board. I saw what the Red Sox did. There's no reason why we can't do the same thing in 2014. And I think we can do that.
All right, you have come here today and said you are completely innocent. Baseball has to prove you aren't or you are. You have to prove he's not guilty. They have to prove he is guilty. We haven't gotten that far yet. If baseball turns around now, if Bud Selig doesn't testify, are you going back to the arbitration hearing?
Mike, we can talk tomorrow. I'm going to Reed Smith after this.
I'm saying if he doesn't, you're not. You said before you wouldn't go back if he doesn't testify. If he doesn't testify, are you done?
I don't think I'm going back.
Okay.
What's the point?
So then the question I have next is then what happens if there's no arbitration and the arbitrator says, I have to say that we didn't have an appeal hearing. Where are we if that was the case?
The appeal hearing has occurred. There have been.
You think it was sufficient?
There have been 12 days of evidence. There has been an extraordinary amount of evidence put in that Alex did nothing wrong. MLB tried to put on a case. The arbitrator could rule based on the record as it exists. We have more evidence to put in.
Right.
We are evaluating our options. That's all I can tell you right now.
Okay, so we're not going to discuss today what your avenues are. But there are obviously legal avenues open to you, right?
Certainly.
Okay. So we don't know. We're not ready to make that statement now.
We're evaluating our options.
All right, A-Rod, you were angry today. You had a chance to cool off. Are you still angry? How do you feel right now this afternoon after what happened this morning? You regret doing it, or do you think you did the right thing?
I have no regrets.
You did the right thing.
And I'll do it again. And the bottom line is, Mike, I've worked for 20 years. I've dedicated, more than half of my life to baseball. Whether you like me or not, what's wrong is wrong, and the system is wrong. And whether you're in federal court or state court or in kangaroo court that we are today, players need protection. And under this system, think about this. If I appeal, the union has already told me that if I go on Friday and they think I lied, they can give me, say, another 100 games. So now you're to 311. Right. So now I would appeal that. In the appeal process, I would say I didn't do it. So now you're up to 411. And this can go on for the next 7 or 8 years. How can a player, the next 18-year-old kid, be sufficient under that type of system?
Well, you guys, how did you guys ever allow this hearing before the hearing ever to be put in? You guys had a vote on this thing.
Yeah, it should obviously be changed, and I think it will.
That didn't make any sense to me. I'm not a lawyer. He is. That didn't make any sense to me in the beginning. Wait a second. You have to go You have to go testify before you testify. I don't understand that process to begin with.
Mike, I want to be clear on one point of the process, one point of absolute absurdity that must be corrected, must be undone. MLB acts as the police agency. They build a case. They prosecute the case. Then they select one of the judges. Right. And that judge testifies freely at will, provides evidence, and will participate in making the decision. Then, if the player has the temerity to testify, to proclaim his innocence, and MLB, the accuser, believes that player is lying, MLB can further discipline him. What the union told Alex was that he very well may be subject to further discipline by MLB if he testifies. If he testifies in MLB, his accuser
it's a scare
believes he's lying.
tactic to make you not testify,
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Now, play this.
That's what it is.
Play this through, Mike. He testifies. We think you're lying. Your accuser, MLB, think you're lying.
Now
I'm hitting
more
you
games.
with another 50 games. Oh, you can appeal that. Go through an appeal. To defend yourself, you'll have to testify. Say, I wasn't lying. You're lying again. Another 50 games, another 100 games. Make it another 500
but
games.
You guys had to
numbers.
prove this, though.
Yeah.
It's on you guys. It's on Fear and Oza. You guys had to approve this thing.
Well, hopefully for 2016, when our agreement's done, that'll be changed. Listen,
they made you guys.
I'm having a hard enough time playing baseball.
Play Association made you guys a lot of money. They were pretty smart guys for the most part. Okay, you've played baseball pretty well. Forget the last year. You've had a pretty good career. Okay, I would have signed for it. I'll tell you right now. Okay, so I'm not worried about your career. But the point is, listen, they made you guys very wealthy. They did a lot of smart things. This was a pretty dumb thing they did in this process. I agree. You can't be judge, jury, and prosecutor. It doesn't make it. It's not a fair system. We know that. The thing that here's two things, A-Rod, that I think. Let me give you the guy listening at home he can't get around. He can't get around why baseball would do this to you if they didn't have these mountains of evidence. That's number one. Number two, all the other guys took their medicine and didn't fight the system. And you're the only one who could. Is it that you were the only one powerful enough to fight the system or rich enough to fight the system?
I'll give you the elevator ride answer, and then I'll let Jim take over on this. Think about what I've been through. If you're any other player, the 13 players, and I don't know anything about their cases, I just know about my case.
Right.
With what I've been through, do you think anybody's going to fight Major League Baseball?
I don't think anybody has the money to do it, first of all. You've spent a fortune doing this. You got high-priced lawyers and agents and PR. I mean, my God. I mean,
but
the bill.
Mike, I mean, look, it works. These guys are very powerful. They have unlimited resources. And today we found they have no recourse. Think about that combination. Unlimited resources, no recourse.
Jim, the guy sitting at home says 10 guys didn't fight it. They took their medicine. How can A-Rod, the same guy, same system, same witness, same everything, be guilty? Answer.
How can he be not guilty?
Well, how can he not be not guilty when 10 guys not one guy took to fight it?
Not one of them fought 50. That's right. Not one of them fought 50 games. I don't know what their reasons were. I'm sure they all had their own reasons. They had their agents. They had their lawyers. They all spoke about it. Look, I'm not disputing. I'm not here to argue that Tony Bosch didn't sell PEDs, that he didn't deal PEDs to people. Tony Bosch, as I understand it, had hundreds of weight loss and nutritional clients. I'm not here to argue they didn't sell PEDs to somebody. They took 50 games. Alex was hit with an unprecedented, baseless 211 games. Where does that come from? Where'd that come from? Obstruction?
I don't. Yeah. Well, they said he was. They said.
Okay.
They said. Here's what they said. I mean, I'll go through them. They said They said they had mountain evidence that he was a chronic user. Okay, number one. Number two. Let's take them one at a time. Mountain evidence that he was a chronic user.
Non-existent.
That he tried to hamper the investigation by buying evidence.
Didn't happen. Non-existent.
That he threatened witnesses.
Didn't happen.
I said, A-Rod threatening somebody? First of all, today I think is the first violent act of your career, of your life. I mean, I didn't even know you had that much fight in you. And you almost broke your hand, is what you're telling me? I never saw you get mad. You even smiled when Dempsey hit you. You didn't even get me. You hit a home run. But, I mean, you didn't even get mad then.
Get even.
I mean, you did get even. But today, banging your hand, is there a video of that? There's probably not a video, right?
That's great television,
Yeah,
Mike. But I will say this.
But what about you? Think about it. How much stuff they said. They called you the Whitey Bulger of baseball in some places.
There are multiple issues being played out in our suit against MLB. We'll deal with those in the appropriate form.
Mike, I'm sorry, Jim.
Please.
The one question that I would have, just for the fans of baseball,
Yeah.
I mean, this has been a disgusting process for everyone, and I'm more embarrassed than anyone to be in the front pages in the news. This is the game that I love more than anything, and I feel like this is what I have my PhD in, is baseball. And I love it. I watch your show. I watch the Yankees. I watch the Mets. I watch the Dodgers. I'll be 75-year-old watching 3 or 4 games a night. This is what I do. I live it. If I had one more year at $12 million, would someone throw 211 games on me? Or would someone be this severe on me?
No, you had $100 million. We know that. A-Rod, you are sitting here during this thing here now and saying, I didn't do anything. Zero. Mm-hmm. This is now, everyone's seeing this, everyone's hearing this. This is never going away. This is going to be your record forever if it's true. You realize that you're saying you didn't do anything, and they had this. They brought guys in here from the other side who fought against, and I've been, as you know, supporting your side of the story here. Not on the evidence of whether you did it or not, because I had no idea. You never told me whether you did it or not. I told you, you said we're not discussing that till the case is over. We never did. I never saw evidence one way or the other, so I never knew that. I thought the other stuff was a clear witch hunt, and I say that, and you've been discredited for a mile. I don't, and it's been outrageous from the team to the Major League Baseball all the way through. That I saw with my own eyes. I didn't need anybody to tell me that. The point is, though, they've brought guys in and say he's got tons of evidence and mountains of evidence, and oh my God. All this stuff, and you say not one thing is true. That's outrageous. It's outrageous if you're lying, and it's outrageous if they're wrong and you didn't do anything. That's even more outrageous. So somebody's really badly wrong here.
I agree with you. We've been there for 12 days, Jim?
12 days.
And we haven't heard one thing that is credible or that. And listen, we've said let's open the transcripts for everyone.
One other question, which I think is important. If you are as innocent as you say you are, why let Bud derail the fact that you're headed for your win? And if it's been such a win for you in the court where they haven't proved anything, why let this Bud not testifying throw out this case? Why not complete it without Bud there?
Mike, I'll address that. We haven't said the case isn't being completed. We haven't said that the case isn't complete, by the way. Lots of evidence put in by our side. We have more evidence. We're evaluating our options. However, Selig is not testifying. Alex has been told by his union that if he testifies, there's a meaningful likelihood that he gets hit with more discipline by his accusers because they don't believe him. Would you testify?
At this point, What's the difference of 211, 311, 400? If I'm innocent, make them prove it. If I'm innocent, make them prove it.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you, Mike. And that is their burden. It is their burden to prove it, and they have failed.
And you're not coming here and wiggling and saying, listen, You have to hear the story. You're saying you didn't do anything.
That's
You're looking
right,
me
Mike.
right in the eye and saying you didn't do anything. Then I'd fight to the death if I were you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fight. I wouldn't give up no matter what.
You've got a clear denial.
Clear denial. Then why not go back and fight it anyway? Or do you think it's wrong not to have Selig face
honestly
you?
so pissed off right now at the system. I've been here every day. I've been respectful. I can't believe that someone would have the courage to make a historical decision on my life, on my daughter's life. I'm going to have to explain this to my daughters. And the guy who Rob Manfred said is his decision and his decision only, not only goes on David Letterman and embarrasses me and talks about one player, just one player, and says they owe me $100 million, but he doesn't have the nerves to come and face me face to face.
Listen, people act like the commissioner is some sovereign person. He is an employee of 32 billionaires, okay? A lot of them who aren't very scrupulous people. And he is an old used car salesman. So let's not treat him like anything more than he is. He's a businessman. He's a good businessman, but he's a businessman. That's all he is. He should be here. I totally believe he should be here. But you shouldn't throw the case out if you believe that strongly in it just for him. That's a mistake because don't let him derail your victory.
Mike, I assure you, nobody is throwing the case out. Whether the case is finally decided in this form created by Major League Baseball, Bud Selig's form, or another form, nobody's throwing the case out. Nobody's throwing the defense out.
Do you feel you have, in your mind, have you made the case you needed to make already, or is there very important stuff that has not been heard?
There is very important stuff that has not been heard, that has been precluded by the arbitrator, that has been precluded by Chairman Horowitz.
Well, since it's not in there, can you tell us what it is?
I'm not able to discuss evidence. We are taking a respectful approach, as we have throughout, to the collective bargaining agreement. I can't talk about evidence. Look, if this matter is resolved appropriately, if Alex is back on the field for opening day next year, if the matter is fully resolved, the matter is fully resolved. Otherwise, the evidence will come out.
All right, so where are we going from here? Where are you right now? What if, I hate to give you hypotheticals, but that's where we are right now. People want to know where this is. Right now, you are not participating at this moment anymore in this process, correct?
I'm going home to see my daughters.
If baseball reaches out, would you reconsider? Would you at least think about reconsidering the process or no?
I'll say this, Mike. I'm so heated up right now and so pissed off that I can't think straight right now. That's why I have many lawyers. I'm going to Reed Smith. We're going to huddle up. And ultimately, I'll make the final decision.
What happens right now, Jim?
As Alex says, we're going to discuss our options. We're going to make determinations of what comes next.
Alex, are you prepared to come back and play? If this baseball hurdle is cleared, are you prepared to come back and honor your contract with the Yankees?
100%. I'm ready for opening day. And, Mike, for the first time in my career, not in my career, in a long time, I feel like I'm going to have a full off season to work hard and prepare. And look, I mean, when you see guys like Big Papi do what he did at 37 and nearing 38, although I'm not a Red Sox fan, I'm a huge Big Papi fan, and I love to see what he did. And look, there's hope. I feel that we're going to come back and have a good year, and hopefully I'm right in the middle of that.
What would you say about the time you spent? You know, a lot of people felt you could never come back and be comfortable back as part of the Yankee team. I didn't notice that last year, either with the team, the players, which I thought would be the easiest part, or anybody else. Can you comfortably come back and be part of the Yankees without any question?
No doubt. I mean, I was just in New Jersey about a week ago celebrating Mariano Rivera. I have a lot of close friends in that team. And I think that's the misconception. I mean, look, I love my manager. I have a great relationship with Joe. We have a great team. We have a great core leaderships. Very close with Jeter, very close with Teixeira, and, Pettit and Moore are leaving, so the responsibility is on us to lead the troops to win a championship. But to answer your question, very comfortable in our clubhouse, and I stay in constant communication with all my teammates.
Since you signed that contract, you've been a target, okay? The discrediting started even before this baseball thing started. There's stuff about other stories about you that had come out that you've been accused of stuff, including that baseball in the Tiger game, that there's a lot of stories about that baseball. how about some of these stories? Can I ask you questions about that?
You can ask me whatever you want.
Did you sign that baseball that was sent back to the stands?
I never signed any baseball, no.
Did someone else sign it? Was it signed? Did you ever see a signed baseball?
I never saw a signed
Did
baseball,
you
no.
sign a baseball that night and pass it into the stands?
I did not. And let me say this, Mike. I mean, that's actually, I'm glad you asked me about that because
I had heard you didn't, so that's why I'm asking you.
it's just, it's sad that we even have to talk about that. But
Well, that was a big story. It's front page news.
20 years in my career, I've never done that. And let me just say this. In today's day and age, there's probably 27 cameras in the Yes Network. We have the slow-mo, super slow-mo. You could not, and let me hear, you cannot get away with anything like that. Not me, not a bat boy, not a manager, not a coach. No one can get away with that. Someone will have that on camera.
So you're saying now, and I don't think anyone's ever addressed that was, you did not do that.
No, of course not.
You were accused of, on the front pages of the newspapers, sending the ball back during the game.
Mike, I couldn't believe that somebody said I signed the ball, gave
Put
my
your,
number,
I guess your phone number on it.
gave
Yeah.
it to a cute girl.
Right.
I mean, I know I'm struggling, but I'm not doing that bad. I mean, I don't
We don't need to get into the. I'm not worried about you with the girls either. I'm not worried about the home runs or the girls,
it's
either one. You know that.
unbelievable.
You know that. We've seen enough actresses. I don't need to. But the point is, you were vilified for that.
Yeah.
Why didn't you speak up?
It's just never been my style, Mike. You know, I've taken the approach of I'm going to put my head down, play baseball. I get too much attention as it is. I know there's a lot of people that don't like me, and there's a lot of people that are supporters. And in an ironic way, what's happened to me over the last 6 months has been the best thing that's happened in my career. It's humanized me. People are coming to my defense, and even people that say, I hate your guts, what MLB baseball is doing to you is flat out disgusting.
Since we haven't talked about the baseball you played last year for a minute before I finish up with legal questions for Jim, obviously we're here with A-Rod and one of his many. How many attorneys do you think you have?
Oh,
Jim, how many work on the case from your place? Jim McCarroll, how many people work on it from your place?
It varies.
Give me
Depending
a
on the
number.
issue.
A small football team? I mean, what are we talking about?
It wouldn't be a news show without taking shots at the lawyers.
You have to take. I mean, listen, you have to pay these.
Go ahead, Mike.
Have you
Give
looked
it
at
to
the
him a little
bills?
bit.
Have you looked at
Do
the
I look at the bill? Let's sign the checks.
Oh, my God. I mean, geez. I mean, all right. What was the hardest part? The day you put the uniform on, to the last game you played, where was the roughest place? What was the roughest day you spent in the uniform this year? What day or what town or what place was the hardest day for you?
I would say the most emotional day was the day I got hit and then the home run. I mean, when I look back at my 20-year career, I would look at that day and probably some of the World Series days as some of the highlights of my career.
Did you think of going after him when he hit you?
Yeah, I did. But it really caught me by
and
surprise.
The reaction, how would you classify the reaction in your dugout?
I thought it was unbelievable. And I
were you
thought,
surprised that they were so behind you, or did you think you were out there by yourself?
I wasn't surprised. I mean, Joe Girardi, I can't say enough.
He was
good things.
unbelievable.
He was
But how about your
unbelievable.
teammates?
And
They
I love
were
that
angry
guy.
too.
I mean, Gardner, Cano, Mariano came out in his flip-flops all the way out. And listen, Big Papi had my back. You know, he called me after the game. And some of those players from their team called me and said, hey, you know what? That's the emotion of the game. That what happens between the lines, we can
But that
police
was
it
a tough
ourselves.
moment.
It was a tough moment, but the home run I thought was one of the greatest moments of my life.
It turned around a lot of people. There's no question. Because you answered. There's no reaction was very good. What was the best part of that time? What was the best day you spent in a Yankee uniform?
I will say this. I think that we were heading in the right direction. I thought that could have propelled us to make it to the playoffs. And I honestly thought that when we had Jeter back and then Gardner went down, that was the big wipeout. I thought Kuroda.
Team missed Gardner a lot.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, we were a different team without Gardner. He really improved. The best time of the season by far was the experience with Mariano Rivera down the stretch. That day where he came out, where he was in tears with the captain and with Pettit. I mean, that was gave you chills. I mean, there wasn't one dry eye in our dugout. That was unbelievable.
You have been one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest. You've been one of the couple of biggest stars in the sport for 2 decades. You've been a major figure in baseball for your whole life, since you were a teenager. At some point, didn't you go, you know everybody in this sport. There's no one you don't know. Didn't you pick up the phone and go to one of the powers that be and say, what the heck is going on here? What the heck behind the scenes? Didn't you ever try to find out what this was all about?
That's a great question, Mike. And I reached out to probably about 7 or 8 owners that are friends, and they basically all said the same thing. My hands are tied. I can't help you. I suggest this, I suggest that, but there was nowhere. And I tried to do this early on because I wanted to go meet someone face to face, like me and you. I'm telling you, you can ask me whatever you want, Mike. I would have done the same thing with Selig or Rob Manfred in January or February. I think they wanted this big spectacle, and they got it.
What would you say, or what would you admit to? What was your relationship to Bosch? What was Bosch to you?
You know, Bosch is a guy from Miami, and it was nutrition, and it was weight loss. And Bosch wasn't the only guy. I traveled the world to see doctors, cutting edge stuff, but always between the parameters of Major League Baseball. And I have hundreds of emails that will be part of evidence, which I can't get into, that backs me up 100%.
When did you realize Bosch wasn't your friend or that he was dirty?
Well, I mean,
the only thing
I can
say
for
that, sale or whatever you want to say.
Someone came to me from his camp and wanted a big lump of money, and I said, I don't play that game. Get out of here. And a week later, MLB Baseball gave him his deal, and he's testifying against 14 guys, whatever it was.
Did he offer you a deal?
From what we understand.
Yeah, look, we Mike, I'm afraid we just can't.
Okay.
You're getting into evidence in the arbitration. We just can't.
Well, I figured now that we're past this now.
Look, Alex continues to respect. We continue to respect the collective bargaining agreement. The process has not been handled properly, but the process is the process that the players have agreed to. We continue to do our very level best to respect that process. What
would you say to Bud Selig, A-Rod, if he's listening right now, or watching, which he can in his house? Well, so wherever he is or wherever he might be, he's probably. You would think he is watching right now. This is on Coast to Coast. What would you say to him right now? I'm sure he's watching.
I'll tell you two things, then I'll tell you the message for the commissioner. We heard someone admit from Major League Baseball that they paid $150,000 in cash in a bag in a restaurant under a table to a guy that they didn't know his name, they didn't know his real name, they didn't know his last name, and they didn't know his background. This is MLB Baseball investigators. That's unreal to me.
That's unreal to me.
Number two, the guy who's the chief police guy of Major League Baseball, Dan Mullen, admitted to having sex with a girl that was, in the first 2 weeks, a prime witness. And my only message to the commissioner is, I know you don't like New York, but come to New York and face the music.
What about you? Does he like you?
He hates my guts. There's no question about it.
Have you ever gotten along with him? You think it's just personal?
I don't think they like big salaries.
But did you ever have anything personal with him? You ever run-ins with him
never.
Or any?
100% is personal, and I think this is about his legacy, and it's about my legacy. And he's trying to destroy me. And by the way, he's retiring in 2014, and to put me in his big mantle on the way out, that's a hell of a trophy.
All right, so that's your message to the commissioner. Do you still want, is it a motivation for both of you to have him still come testify, or is that past now?
But Bud Selig should live up to his obligation. He should come testify. We should never have had the proceedings that we had the last day and a half. Chairman Horowitz should never have had to make a ruling.
There was a
Why should a chairman have to make that decision? Mike, if I give you 211 games, I have conviction. I'm going to face the music like I'm here with you.
I'm totally agree with that. I don't even think that's unreasonable. And somebody gave me a word just as you were coming in that baseball was trying to reach out to you guys to get you back to the table. What happens, Jim, if that, are you open to that? Someone told me that just as you guys were coming in, that baseball's trying to, as the fact that they were trying to find you guys, as a matter of fact.
Well, that's interesting. Everybody involved's got my cell phone number. I haven't heard anything. So, if somebody wants to have a conversation, if somebody wants to apologize, if somebody wants to talk about ending this proceeding, that's fine.
And A-Rod, if no Selig, no you, is that how we are right now? Is that where we are at this moment? We give you the right to change your mind and go back to the arbitration. You always have that right with your lawyers. But right now, what you're feeling, no Selig, no you?
Yeah, like I said, I can't make any decisions right now. I'm way too hot, and I'm going to go back with my lawyers and huddle up and hear everybody's advice, and then at the end of the day, I'm going to make the final decision.
But the headline out of all this, A-Rod, is you on the record in front of this audience, and thankfully for me, it's a good one, that you did nothing. You did zero.
You don't need any help with ratings.
No, thankfully. No. I'm going to tell you, this isn't going to hurt.
I'm not worried about you,
I'll
okay?
Tell you this isn't going to hurt. I'll tell you right now. You didn't do anything.
You're exactly right, Mike.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Say it.
I did nothing, Mike.
No steroids, no performance, nothing.
Yeah, take away what we've talked about in the past.
Nothing
right?
passed.
Yeah,
I'm talking about what you're being accused of. They have zero.
With the Bosch nonsense?
Yes.
Nothing.
Nothing. All right. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it
Thanks
very
for
much.
having me. Now, next time we come back, we got to talk a little Hurricane football.
Anytime you want. I told you that when your guy texted me about a month ago about something, I said they look good, but they won't beat Florida State, which
And
you
you
knew
were
they
right.
wouldn't. You knew, and talk
I
about
was the
someone in
sidelines
trouble.
for that.
Quarterback's in some trouble
Yeah.
too. Hey, I appreciate you coming in, and I guess we'll find out what's going to happen. This is obviously not the end of this by any stretch. Gut feeling. Where do you think you'll be in April?
I hope opening day starting up for the Yankees.
What do you feel inside? Yes or no? You think you're going to be on the sideline fighting, or you think you're going to be in a uniform?
I don't know.
What do you think?
Alex,
Where will he be on opening day?
Alex should be batting balls out of the park on opening day.
Spoken like a lawyer. No should. Where do you think he'll be?
Yankee Stadium.
You think he will be? You won't say. Where do you think you'll
I'll be either third base. I'll be sitting with you, Mike.
Anytime.
Or you can sit with me in my seats.
Anytime. I don't know if I could afford you.
My
Okay.
seats are expensive.
Yeah, so am I.
I know.
Thanks for coming in. Jim, thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thanks, Mike.
A-Rod, thank you. Back after this.
Thank you.